Hey, Jeff from Defensive Shooting Skills here. It's been a couple of weeks since we actually did a podcast. The last one I did was on the Memorial Weekend, which I got some things I want to talk about that. Tonight we have Audra Johnson with us again. She was with us about 3 weeks ago, and it was turned out pretty good. So we thought we'd have her back on, and hopefully she's going to be a regular.
Yay.
We want her on here as often as possible. Tonight we got some things we want to talk about. I want to talk about some current events, things going on with Congress, with the House of Representatives, the Senate, what's going on with the new gun legislation, some of the things going on with inflation and different things and gas prices. Audra's going to talk about some things that she wants to get off of her, her back and her chest per se. Some things that she's gone through, been going through, and a lot of people are going through right now. So I want to welcome Audra back. Welcome back.
Well, thank you, Jeff.
So tell us about what's going on.
Oh, so I mean, I think, you were talking about Congress and the crazy things that they're trying to do in this country. And I just wanted to bring something up that is real near and dear to my heart. So I'm sure, like you, we all watched the absolute, infomercial for January 6th put on by the January 6th committee. And a lot of people that know me have realized, like, I've been very quiet. I've been very reserved. What I'm saying, and indeed I've been very depressed and just in a spot that I didn't know how to get my way out of. And I realized again, if anybody's paying attention to anything in Michigan, they've realized that Ryan Kelly has indeed been arrested and charged for January 6th. And I thought, man, this is it. I have to be open and honest about what I've been going through, because my life the last couple months has been almost to the extreme. I can't even explain it, the despair and depression. And that's because I know, not fully, because I'm not being directly accused of anything right now, but I know what it's like to be targeted by the January 6th committee.
Well, the thing is, what cracks me up, actually didn't crack me up, it's sad, is the media made this big, huge ordeal about him getting arrested.
Right.
And it was like Class C misdemeanor charges.
Right.
Nothing major.
No.
One thing I do have to say, I have to get my 2 cents about it. Him getting arrested, it blew my mind. Actually, it didn't blow my mind. I was just actually amazed and disappointed on how many people who are running ran down there and tried to make it a political thing for them. And not about what the situation was. Just like at the Memorial Day Parade.
Yeah.
I mean, at the Memorial Day Parade, we're there to honor our vets and people that have given their life. And there's people that are using that as a promotional, trying to promote their political agenda. And that's, to me, that wasn't the place for it.
Right. Well, we have that so much in politics, like the January 6th committee. It's a direct. Now, I don't have actual numbers and statistics, but I can tell you from the people I know that are still staying silent about this, a lot of us were patriot candidates, still are patriot candidates for office. And the Democrats are absolutely 100% using this witch hunt of American citizens. Whether if I'm a candidate or not, I'm still an American citizen. I'm still due my rights. They're using it as an absolute witch hunt. To target patriot candidates, to target people that necessarily, like me, I'm a lot of, hey, the right and the left are both doing this. We need to stop it. It's an actual,
exactly.
It's a targeting of individuals that have decided our Constitution and our people come first over party.
Just like the post I put on there the other day that said, we have the right and the left, but they both come from the same bird.
Same bird.
Both part of the same bird.
And I think this is kind of, like I said, something I struggled with, because I know by speaking out and saying, hey, they're targeting me, I've been very public about everything I have been involved in with January 6th, what my actions were. If they're going to target somebody like me just because they don't like what they say, well, there's going to be a problem for people other than me.
What happened to due process?
Right. No due process. In fact, the wording of the subpoena was by the authority of the Congress. And there was just something about that really, as a patriot, it almost, I don't know, it killed my soul, right? Because the Congress has no authority over me.
This is the thing. The Congress is there, the House and the Senate. The House is there to write law.
Right.
In the Senate, they're not there to what's the word I'm looking for? To
Hunt American citizens.
Hunt American citizens, yeah, but they're not. It's not their job to enforce law.
Right.
That's the Department of Justice. That's a whole different ball game.
Right.
You know.
Well, and it, like I said, and people need to understand this is not like some game of politics at this point. It's literally getting people like me and my family. My God, my family was just stricken with grief because when you've done something, you kind of like, okay, this is what they're going to charge me with because I've done something. But when you're innocent, you go, my God, what are they going to charge me with? Because I didn't actually do anything. So they're going to come up with so many things. I mean, obviously I haven't been charged yet, but I can tell you that the absolute despair being an American citizen and loving your country and your Constitution as much as I can, or I do, it got me to the point where it was an absolute despair. Like my soul felt like it was dying. I can't even explain it because I'm just like, wow, I'm a United States citizen and I'm literally being hunted by my own government because I disagree with the Democrat Party or the liberals. And again, I can't say much about what it is that they asked me about, but I can be very clear with you when I say all the quote unquote evidence or documents they, are flashing up, all of it. And I mean, every single piece of quote unquote evidence was directly from a liberal media news outlet or, Michigan Tea. And a lot of the conservatives here in Michigan know who Michigan Tea is. They like to make all these crazy examples and these crazy allegations against conservatives. All of it was from these extreme left organizations, or it was a quote of mine that they picked and choose what I was saying. This is not by any means a fair shot at justice. This is an absolute witch hunt of anybody that dares speaks out against them. And I can guarantee you, many of us are running for office or were running for office in this absolute absurd concept that it's equal because there's Republicans and there's Democrats on this commission or board or whatever they want to call it is absolutely absurd. The two quote unquote Republicans that are on there literally were disavowed by the Republican Party. They're like, you're not a Republican, get out. And I think it's so important that people understand and remember when they're throwing all these testimonies up. First of all, you can tell they're edited. But second of all, there are very much testimonies of people like me who contradict what they're saying and what they're supporting, but they're never going to show that.
So you're trying to say that the media twists things and edits things to what they want it to make it the narrative sound like?
Right. And, before we're kind of like, you guys are corrupt, whatever. But now Americans need to understand how serious and dangerous this is becoming. Literally, U.S. Marshals showed up at my door, terrorized my family. Well, they didn't terrorize, but they terrified my family. Not them themselves, but the concept
of everything.
Oh my God, why is the U.S. Marshals here? Why am I being summoned in front of, Queen Nancy in her court? Knowing that I am never going to get a fair shot at representing myself because these people have already decided I'm guilty. And that is 100% going on in this country. And it's a lot more people than people understand and think. And again, I can't say names. But I am telling you, there are people right now in Michigan that are sitting there thinking, what? I don't have anything to worry about. I didn't do anything. You might not even been there on January 6th. I mean, 90% of what we talked about wasn't even about January 6th. They're sitting there thinking they're safe and they're fine. And the absolute truth is the government is either planning to come for you and knock on your door, or you're going to be accused of something that you didn't do. And this is 100% happening in our country right now.
Wow. Yeah, the country as it is today is a country they don't even recognize from 10 years ago, or at least 20 years ago. We have I hate to say it, but we've got a government that seems like, not necessarily a government, but a party that's in there right now, an administration that instead of trying to unify is trying to just tear apart and destroy.
While accusing us of being divisive.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't think and you don't believe the way we believe, we're supposed to be the party of tolerance
And unity.
and the party of unity. But if you don't believe the way we believe, or you don't think the way we think, then you're a terrorist,
Right.
or you're, something. What else? Instead of trying to divide or unite people, they try to divide people.
Right.
By race, by religion, by creed. Why? I mean, there's enough problems in the world.
Right. And question why. It's almost 2 years now. I know it is 2 years now. Question why now? Why are they arresting people now? Why are they summoning people before the court now? Why are they, they've already got caught. They got caught messing with the 2020 elections. They know they can't do it the same way again.
You want to watch a good show? Watch that. There's a movie out. It's 2020 with Dinesh D'Souza.
2,000 Mules?
Or 2,000 Mules.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I started watching it the other night, and I'm just like going, oh my gosh.
I haven't seen it yet, but I mean, I feel like, not that I love him. I've met him before. He's amazing. Not that I don't want to watch it. I just don't have time to watch it. But I'm kind of like, yeah, we probably already know everything that's in that movie. And again, January 6th committee is going to present this thing to you that it's Trump. Trump made people believe that there was election fraud. And the honest to God truth, especially here in Michigan, I had friends call me 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, bawling their eyes out because they were poll watchers. They were the people that were responsible, saying, "Hey, there's something wrong with this ballot. I'm challenging it."
Well, I find that anybody with common sense can look at it and go, 2 + 2 is not equaling 4 here.
Right.
I mean, when Trump was ahead by double-digit numbers
Yes.
up until midnight, then all of a sudden, all these key pivotal states closed their polls.
Right.
And then when they reopen, all of a sudden, Biden's ahead.
Right. So the January 6th committee is going to pound into the people's heads. It was Trump. Trump gave it. And again, for me, it's not Trump. Trump didn't do it. I listened to my friends cry because they thought it was their responsibility to secure it, which it was, right? They were poll challengers, and they weren't allowed to challenge these ballots. They saw the vans come in 2, 3 o'clock in the morning with boxes and boxes of ballots. So they're going to keep pounding this narrative into people's heads. And okay, maybe they're silly and stupid and we all kind of laugh at them, but it is scary at a point because they think they can do this. They think they can get away with it. And that's scary.
Well, one of the things that was on the movie, there was a lady who was a poll watcher for the Republicans. And she didn't look Hispanic at all, but she spoke Spanish very fluently.
Yep.
And she was poll watching in a Hispanic district.
Yep.
And when they were coming in, the lady who was handing them ballots and stuff like that was telling them who to vote for.
Right.
And they didn't realize that she spoke fluent Spanish, and she turned them in.
Yeah.
And, this stuff is going on left and right. Again, am I saying the right has never done anything like that? Well, I'm sure they have.
I'm sure they have.
But
I'd be just as furious.
Exactly.
Again, 2016 was her name Jill Stein.
There was a couple of people that ran that got nailed in 2016 and in 220 for trying to
challenged it. She was like, I think we need a recount, and of course, my guy won, so I'm not like, yay, recount. But I was like, if she thinks there's problems, we should probably at least look into it. Now we looked into it, and it turned out there was more votes for Trump than there was. So it turned out in our favor. But I wasn't about to call these people insurrectionist or stop them, because I'm like, it's my election. It's so important in our republic to have that secure. I don't care what side it comes from.
Well, I'm going to give my opinion on this, and again, opinions are like armpits. Everybody's got a couple and sometimes they stink. But I think personally, when it came down to it, if you look at all the protests and stuff that were going on around the country, when you had protests on the right, they were very peaceful. There was, nothing going on. Protest on the left, they were burning things down.
Right.
And I think personally that if Trump would have won, half of this country would have been in flames.
It would have. And again, that's like people like me and you were like, hey, we got to find a way to figure this out or we'll end up in civil war. Again, that is not me saying, I want war.
God, I don't want that.
I don't want that. I am terrified of that.
There's got to be a peaceful solution. We have to have
a
peaceful solution.
But we got to realize it's coming from both sides. Both sides are very angry, and I get it. I'm angry. I'm angry about what I'm seeing happen to my country. But there's got to be a peaceful solution. But we can't do that because we are not we're not able to step outside the box and say, this is enough. we have to concentrate on our constitutional rights, our republic. Stop disarming people. Stop threatening to disarm people.
Aren't we a democracy?
Oh, God.
Don't get me on my soapbox.
Hypothetically, that was an argument I had, but we won.
We talked about that last time. Yeah. And I agree. I mean, there's things like with stuff going on right now with the Protect Our Children's Act.
Right.
With the gun stuff going on. We have the left that wanted to just shove something down the throat, and that's what they wanted, and that's what it was going to be. And nothing in there would have protected anybody.
No.
It would not have changed anything. It was going to the Senate. The Senate needed 10 votes. Looks like they've got the votes, but they've changed the narrative of it, from what it was to what it is now.
That's getting kicked
I mean,
back to the
I was really, really nervous, and I'm still nervous because there's still some framework that I'm not sure about. Some of the things that they have in there that the Republicans have put in, I can agree with. There's still some things I don't agree with.
Right.
But probably 80% of it, I can say, yes, that makes sense.
So what is your opinion on the 72-hour law? Now, you know I come to you all the time because I am not a gun expert. But this whole 72-hour law, from my understanding, it kind of protects my constitutional rights, right? What it
is they basically, well, let's talk about it right here. Like this is what the Democrats on the House what they voted on last Thursday,
right,
and actually passed. And it says that it generally prohibits the sale and transfer of certain semi-automatic rifles or semi-automatic firearms, not rifles, but firearms, to individuals who are under the age of 21. Establishes new federal criminal offense for gun trafficking and related conduct. Establishes a federal statutory framework to regulate ghost guns, i.e., guns without serial numbers. Establishes a framework to regulate a storage of firearms and residential premises at the federal and state and tribal levels.
Oh, that's got me.
Subject bump stocks and regulation under federal firearms, which the bump stock thing I understand because the Supreme Court already ruled out that they do not make firearms automatic.
Right.
So I don't know why that's back in there. They're going to try to get in one way or another. Generally prohibits the import, sale, manufacture, transfer, and possession of large capacity ammunition feeding devices. Requires the Department of Justice to report the demographic data of a person who is determined to be ineligible to purchase a firearm based on a background check performed by National Instant Criminal Background Check System. Now, a couple of these things I don't agree with. Number one, generally prohibits the sale and transfer of certain semi-automatics to individuals who are under the age of 21. Okay? They don't want you to own a firearm until you're 21 years of age, but we're going to send you at 18 years of age with the firearm to go fight.
To Ukraine, maybe?
To fight.
Yeah.
Okay. Then
what I don't like about that is traditionally families pass down guns, right? So what if I, God forbid, die tomorrow, or my husband dies tomorrow, like whatever, God forbid. But then my 18-year-old can't take possession of my guns.
No.
Like I think we are missing the whole, like you said.
But this is the kicker. This is what people don't realize. People have short memories, and I hate that.
Oh, I do.
Because the Democrats are saying the reason that they don't want you're not mentally developed and you're not old enough or mature enough to make a decision for yourself and at 21 years of age. But hey, let's drop the voting age to 16.
Or let's make it so 8-year-olds can make,
decision
on what sex they are, permanent decisions on what sex they are. I don't get this.
No.
I don't get. Do I agree that 18-year-olds are immature? Absolutely, but I don't agree with the fact that you could possibly invoke the draft and send my 18-year-old to fight a war I don't want him to fight.
Well, you get the thing. Then you also hear him say, "Well, we don't let anybody buy cigarettes or drink until they're 21."
Right.
Well, I can understand a little bit more than a firearm because a lot more teenagers at 18 and are 20, 18 or 19 years old, if they could go buy a 12-pack or a 6-pack, they're going to go out and get a little hammered.
Oh, no, but then
and then possibly drive. But that's a little bit different than buying a gun and shooting somebody.
But then Michigan, either they just did or they're talking about dropping the serving age of alcohol to 17. And I'm like, what do you think these 17-year-olds are going to do if they're allowed to serve alcohol? They're going to make sure yeah, exactly. Like, oh, there's half a beer left. Or, hey, guys, come sit at my table. I mean, like, this whole thing is so ridiculous. You're trying to put an age on responsibility. And I know some men that are almost 40 that are not responsible yet.
No, I agree. But, and also the thing I don't understand about gun trafficking, Gun trafficking. What they're dealing with there is they're talking about a little bit more into the, I think more of the straw purchases. But if I remember right, wasn't there a thing here a few years ago with the Attorney General called Fast and Furious?
Oh.
Was the largest gun trafficking thing in the world.
By the government.
By our own government. Establish federal framework to regulate ghost guns, i.e. guns without serial numbers. People have been able, since the beginning of the Constitution, the beginning of time, have been able to make their own firearms.
Right.
Yeah. And not one of the firearms that they have found, they've been used in these mass shootings. Not one of them has been a ghost gun.
Most of them, I just don't know.
It's all framework of setting things up for confiscation and registration.
Yep.
Bump stocks. General prohibits the import, sale, manufacture, transfer, possession of large capacity feeding devices. So, large capacity magazines.
Right.
Okay. If you guys, I'm not going to get into this, but if you get into it and actually research the CDC and the FBI and the amount of rounds that were actually shot from each magazine, large capacity magazines have nothing to do with it. One of the things also I want to talk about, also the framework about ghost guns. If you look at the law for what it says and what they want to put in there, you would be a felon if you took your own firearm apart, cleaned it, and put it back together.
I heard that, yeah.
Because what it does is it actually has it that any part of your firearm that is not serialized and have a serial number would be considered a ghost part of a ghost gun. So, there's all kinds of things in there. Background checks, things like that. Now, some of these things I can understand. Now, when it went to the Republicans, they kind of switched it around and totally changed it. Now, here's what the Republicans proposed. The Republicans proposed this bipartisan committee, which I'm glad to see that they were able to work together. Some of the stuff they wanted, I didn't want, such as red flag laws.
I'm so terrified of those.
Red flag laws, what they're saying they're going to leave it up to the state. But they're going to provide money to the state, and they're actually going to dangle that money over the state's head like a carrot, and basically said, if you want these funds, you've got to do this.
Red flag laws, I think, is so funny because these people, the Democrat Party, they're the race, they're like, everybody else is racist but us. And I'm like, what do you think this is going to do to poor Black communities? What do you think this is going to do? This is going to violate their rights. It's going to give the police, if they're so against the police, they're giving the police the right to come into their homes. You don't even have to have a gun. Did you know that? Like, it could just be, there's a suspicion you have a gun.
Well, that's the problem. You could have somebody that you got in an argument with or had a disagreement with over something stupid, or a neighbor that doesn't like the way you mow your yard,
or a liberal brother who reports that you're doing things that you're not doing, or makes a situation into something else, and then you already have the government on your butt because of it.
Well, and there again, they're talking about, now one of the things that they said is, well, it has to be substantiated by like a doctor or a family member. I'm sorry, but I've got family members that I don't get along with.
Right. And then people don't understand there's already a system in place. Like,
enforce them.
Yeah. There's already a system in place. Now, don't even ask me what the name of it is, but I know, like, if I have an apparent mental problem, right?
Well, every one of these shooters that have committed the mass shootings lately, the one that was in Buffalo, and then the one down in Texas. Well, from what I understand, somebody told us one of our classes that they knew each other. The guy in Buffalo and the guy in
didn't we call that last time we were
knew each other? Yeah. Well, no, what I said is they're glorifying it,
right?
So it's people are going to copycat.
Right. Yep.
So whether that happened, but the thing is both of these two both of these two morons
knew each other.
Who, even if they didn't know each other, both of them had been turned in before by even family members that were worried about things that they were doing. And that's as far as it went.
Yeah, they're too busy going after people like me and you who just...
But it's the gun's fault.
Yeah. Oh, Lord, the gun's fault.
But what this is proposal includes more thorough... Now, some of the stuff I can agree with.
Okay.
Proposal includes more thorough background checks on gun buyers under 21, specifically requiring these individuals to complete an investigative period in which a juvenile mental health records are reviewed per senator's announcement. This is what the senator wants. So basically, if somebody's been deemed, they could be deemed a danger to themselves as a minor, but the minute that they turn 18, that record is closed.
Right.
And so it's like they start all over again.
Right.
I can see it on a good thing for people maybe done petty crimes and stuff like that. They just did things that were stupid as a kid, but things where they've been deemed mentally
I don't know though. I mean, like, didn't you? I know I went through the whole like angsty depression teenage period.
Just because you're depressed doesn't mean that you're going to hurt somebody or want to hurt somebody.
Right.
But if you're posting things that's you know, kill this person for that, or kill this and stuff like that,
right.
and I want to do this, you know, destroy things, and you're out there, you know, sacrificing cats and stringing them out and burning, you know, things like that. Yeah, that stuff should be open to where when they do a background check as an adult, that should pop up.
Now, do you have that concern? See, one of my concerns is they're not going to equally apply this across the board. You get what I'm saying?
I see how it could be used where anything that the government wants. They can weaponize anything back against you if you want.
Right.
But I mean, I think that these records, some of these things should be opened up a little more. I mean, I've got a guy that took my class that he couldn't get his concealed pistol license in Michigan because when he was 9 years old, he went into a neighbor's garage and took an ice cream bar.
Really?
And because that was theft, he could not. It was a juvenile record. It says right in there, juvenile record, kept him from getting a CPL license.
Wow.
It's absolutely something. I mean, like the red flag law. The proposal would support states to implement red flag laws, which allow law enforcement to obtain court orders to temporarily seize guns from someone considered a danger to themselves or others.
It's due process.
There's 19 states that already have this. But basically what the problem is with this is against your Fourth Amendment rights. You are guilty until proven innocent.
Right.
And the problem with this also is temporary search and seizure or temporary seizure of firearms. From some of the things that I've heard is you're supposed to be able to go to trial or before a judge on this within 3 days or 72 hours. But some of them written, you're not even allowed to be present.
What?
So you can't even represent yourself. I mean, I want to see more of the framework of where they're going with this.
Yeah, you cannot disarm me without, like, listen, if I go to trial and you find out I did all sorts of crazy things, then by all means take away my guns, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you can't just walk into somebody's home, take their possessions and say, oh, we'll be back, or you come to this place in 3 days or whatever it is, and then maybe we'll give you your stuff back. Like, I don't see how people don't see that as a direct violation.
Well, it has nothing to do with the violation. It has to do with the start to a means to an end.
Right. Well,
because basically when they're taking on the Second Amendment, they're taking on an elephant. And the best way for them to eat that elephant is one bite at a time.
Yes.
So with that being said, they're, you know, like Colion Noir, I was watching a thing on him the other night, and he was talking about there's approximately 36 to 38,000 deaths from guns in the United States each year.
All right.
The thing is they category it all underneath just gun violence, which it's actually not.
Right.
65% is suicide.
Right.
Well, if somebody truly wants to commit suicide, they're going to do it one way or the other.
And I don't see gunshot being like I guess I'm not depressed. I did not commit suicide. No, I don't see a gun being my first. I probably take some sleeping pills.
The way you were attacked when you were running, I'm surprised they didn't say you had.
Oh, I know.
So
they probably will now.
But yeah, but the thing is now that it's like 3 to 5% are law enforcement.
Right.
Or it's like 5% law enforcement, but that doesn't differentiate the difference between law enforcement shooting somebody or somebody shooting law enforcement.
Right.
The largest majority of it is gang violence.
Oh, it's totally not a surprise.
It's like gang violence.
Right.
They also don't take into consideration, you always hear on the media, they talk about these shootings that take place. And I'm not trying to say that these mass shootings shouldn't be. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not trying to justify them by all means, because it's terrible.
No.
It's absolutely disgusting and terrible. But the thing is one thing the media never reports is the 2.5 million people on year, average per year, that use a firearm to defend themselves or another individual.
Right, because it doesn't follow their narrative. They don't. They want to. I don't know if it's like an ego thing. I feel like humanity in general has gotten this like idea that we can wipe out evil with laws, and I'm like, no, because they're criminals, and criminals don't obey laws.
They don't obey laws. That's the whole thing. Every law that they have that they put on there would never have stopped any of these mass shootings, never through time. It wouldn't have done anything. But the only thing it's going to do is affect the average everyday individual
that honestly
who
just
wants to do what's legal.
Yep.
It's just absolutely insane. I mean, the thing is they talk about the AR-15.
Oh my God! God.
Why do they talk about the AR-15?
Because they think it means automatic rifle.
They think it means automatic rifle or assault rifle, which it doesn't. It's Armor Light Rifle Model 15. There's really no such thing as an assault rifle.
No.
That was a term that was actually put on by Russia. I mean, think about it. If you use something, just anything to do damage to somebody, if I take your Dr. Pepper bottle
I could whip you with my purse.
And that would be an assault purse. But the thing is, what gets me is the AR-15, when it comes to, it's not even the weapon that's used the most.
No, it's not.
It's still handguns.
And now what were they saying? Was it the handgun that they were claiming can put a hole this or blow your lung
that was
out?
Joe Biden that said a 9mm can blow your lung right out of your body.
No, was it really Joe?
Yeah, that was Joe. He said that right before he got on the helicopter. I almost fell out of my chair laughing.
That man.
I had a surgeon tell me that a 9mm will blow your lung right out of your body. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But everybody should have a 22, because if a 22 shoots you, it will stick in your lung and they can go in and remove it. Yeah, and a 22 won't stop a threat. If you have an attacker, basically say if somebody has 2.5 or 3 inches of fat can stop a 22.
Oh, I'm good.
I'm armored.
I'm good.
I'm armored. So,
I have a reason why I ate so many cookies.
Yeah, I mean, bulk up. But the thing is like what people fail to say, more people are killed each year in the United States. In the United States from blunt force trauma from hammers.
I mean,
than are from rifles.
It wasn't hammers and knives. It was
hammers, no, just hammers alone. Even
I thought it was like, I can't remember. It was like so insanely like it was.
Don't get me on knives. I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. Ask London.
Well, not just that, but here's the thing. I don't know if you heard about what happened last week in New Zealand.
No.
We'll talk about that in a second. But when it comes to rifles, the majority of rifles, when people are shot with a rifle, it's mistaken identity in hunting.
Yeah.
Because they have, I heard it through a brush. I thought it was a deer and it was another hunter.
Yeah.
That's the largest thing. More people are killed with handguns. But we can go after the AR-15 now because it looks like a weapon of war.
Scary.
It looks like an M16. So we can prey upon that. It's a weapon of war. It is nothing. You open them up, they're totally different.
Yeah.
They're totally opposite.
Try explaining to a lefty. I don't know why I call him that. I should probably say, but a lefty. Try explaining to them that I have a 22, right? So it's like one step up from a
pea shooter.
A pea shooter. And I'm like, there's different calibers. And they're like, no, your AR is the same one that they use in Afghanistan. I'm like, what in God's name?
Well, it's the same round. It's the 223 and the 5.56, which are basically the same round. The 5.56 is the military version.
Right.
It's a little bit different, a little bit more pressure.
I think they're trying.
But it's basically the same bullet itself.
They think it's like, I don't know, I'm running around like G.I. Jane or something like that. I'm like, listen, don't get me wrong. I respect my gun. I respect it. I would never misuse it. But, I mean, they just make this, like, insane, like, hysteria about it, don't they? They just...
And the thing is what people don't realize, this attack on the Second Amendment. I know we've been told that the Second Amendment has been, every year, it's never been under attack like it is right now. Well, that is almost true, because each year it gets worse and worse and worse.
And worse.
But let's get back into these laws. The new committee actually proposed boyfriend loophole. Convicted domestic violence abusers and individuals subject to domestic violence restraining orders will be included in the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. Currently, only individuals married or divorced couples convicted of domestic violence are blocked from owning or purchasing a gun. I can understand that. I can sign on with that.
But there's the flip side of that too, right? I'm a domestic violence survivor and I love my gun. I wish I had known about being able to handle a gun.
But not a survivor, but I mean the person who committed the domestic violence.
Right, but I'm saying they put so much emphasis on this, but then they don't say, hey, maybe a domestic violence person that's having it committed on should have a way to protect themselves. Absolutely. Is what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
They don't.
I mean, you got a lot of people out there that are 18, 19 years old that have families that their boyfriends or husbands and stuff like that are in the military.
Right.
And they're taking care of themselves and protecting themselves.
Right.
Mental health support and school safety resources. I do like this one. The legislation would include major investment to increase access to mental health and suicide prevention programs.
Yep.
In addition to crisis to trauma intervention programs. It would also include investment in bolster school safety, including school violence prevention efforts and training for school personnel and students. There would also be more funding for mental health services in schools.
Right. I agree.
In other words, hiring more school resource officers, having people like that.
Yep.
Finally, it would invest and increase in your family's access to telehealth mental health services.
What is that? I don't know what telehealth is.
Just like when you have a doctor, instead of going to the doctor, you can actually talk with somebody.
Got ya.
And then finally, licensed firearms dealer straw purchasing. I think this is a total joke. The legislation seeks to clarify definition of federal licensed firearms dealer and aims to crack down on criminals who illegally evade licensing requirements. It also increases penalties for illegal straw purchases in which a person buys a gun on behalf of someone else who legally is banned for having one. If I'm not mistaken, which I'm not, line number 1 on the 4473 form when you buy a firearm says, is this to be purchased for yourself or another individual?
Yeah.
That is a straw purchase.
Yeah.
We already have laws for that.
Yeah, they just need to be enforced.
Okay, so if they want to write another law for it to support that, if it gets them off the other stuff, knock themselves out. So, but here's the funny.
It's a waste of time and money. You're not going to be able to put any law in effect that is going to stop evil.
Well, here's the funny thing. Once all this stuff, the Senate gets this framework put into place, since it's not with the original bill that the House wrote,
it goes back
to the House. Right. And the House only has a few days to vote on it.
Right.
And what's funny is AOC, who's as far left as you could possibly go,
she's psychotic,
comes out and says that she's worried about the criminalization in the gun framework, particularly the juvenile criminalization and expansion of background checks into juvenile records could be racist. I want to explore the implications and how specifically it's designed to be tailored.
Right.
So she wants gun reform, but now she's against some of the gun reform, and it's because of this is the stuff. It has nothing to do with that. It breaks it back down. It's because that was something that came from the Republican Party.
Yeah. Well, of course.
On the right.
Everything the Republicans say is racist. Everything we say, everything we do, it's racist.
Absolutely. So it just blows my mind. And back like what I was saying about New Zealand.
Oh yes, I didn't hear about this.
There was a stabbing, a guy went into a like a grocery store, like Walmart or like Myers, pulled a knife off the shelf and stabbed a bunch of people and killed them. Oh my God. So now let's ban knives.
Oh, they did that in London too. Like,
let's ban knives.
It's stupid and it's frustrating. It's so scary. Like, you can't ban evil. You're never gonna be able to ban evil. We have to do.
If they ban knives in London, they're going to be in trouble because from what I've heard about London, about England, a lot of people have really bad teeth. So if they don't have knives and they can't cut their steaks, they're going to be in trouble.
They're going to be in trouble. They did like I think it's in effect, like, I could be totally wrong on this, but what I remember reading something like you can only have like table knives. Like you can't have a knife at all.
No forks. There'll be sporks.
Right. And then the sporks will be able
Yeah. So it's absolutely insane.
If you're evil enough to kill somebody, like, not defend like, there's a difference, right, of defending yourself. But if you're evil enough to want to take somebody's life, you're going to find a way to do it.
Oh, absolutely. It just blows my mind. Now, with that being said, this is what's going on. I don't want to get too much more into it until we find out what the absolute total framework of this bill is going to be.
Right.
But one thing that one thing is people understand is that it's driving people nuts. It's killing people. I don't know if you've been watching the stock market.
No,
the S&P dropped 5% yesterday.
I mean,
the Dow's. Everything's on. Bitcoin is dropping through the floor.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's literally becoming worthless. When you got grandma saying invest in Bitcoin, time to sell because that means something's wrong. Gold even took a little bit of a drop. Everything's taken a drop. It's because of inflation.
Yeah. Our groceries now, mind you, I have 4 teenagers and I have a couple of people that I work with that eat at my house all the time. But our grocery bill went from like $250, $300 a week to now it's over $500 a week. And it's just the essentials. It's not, we don't eat steak and,
the thing is like gas prices. People don't realize this.
Oh God.
The gas prices, everything we have is petroleum based.
Everything.
Our clothing, our bottle, buy a bottle of water.
Right.
Everything is petroleum based and, diesel. Everything is shipped through trucks.
Yep.
Your husband's a truck driver.
Yeah, it's killing.
Trains, all that runs off diesel and these things. It's just going to drive the price up to where people can't afford anything.
But that's where they want. I know maybe I'm like, ooh, conspiracy theory, but I've looked again, it's history, right? If you want to control a population, you disarm them, you control the media, you control the youth, and then what do? You control the supplies, you control the food, you control.
Look at Venezuela.
Yes, thank you.
Look at all that.
Yep.
And then now who are we talking to about bailing us out and providing more oil? Venezuela.
Are we really?
Yeah, we're going to, let's drop sanctions. So maybe if we drop sanctions, they'll give us more oil. How about this?
What? How about we use our own oil?
How about this? How about if they hadn't killed the Keystone Pipeline, which by now would have been totally up and running?
Yep.
We would have gotten the 90 million or 90 million barrels of oil per day or whatever it is from Canada.
Right.
Which would have, well, how's it going to affect? That's from Canada. Yeah, but it's our neighbor. And we can get oil from there if we need, and we can go back through them. But the thing is we were self-supporting.
Yes, that's why we hadn't, I paid 99 cents a gallon.
I hadn't seen that since I was a teenager.
I don't remember that since I was little. I was like, whoa, I can take my children and go to the park.
Well, and the thing is with gas prices that low, I mean, like I said, we were down, we had a surplus. The economy was booming. People had extra money to invest and do things of that nature. The economy was booming. We were actually selling oil over to Russia and to these other countries. And now we're trying to buy oil from them. What the hell?
Yeah. I think at one point, weren't we even selling rice to Asia, which is insanely crazy to me. We had a surplus.
And ice to Eskimos.
And, Special USA ice.
But it's insane. It's insane. I don't know. We don't
have mean tweets though.
No,
we don't have mean tweets anymore.
The thing is I don't get it. I don't understand it. And then the thing is Biden has the gall to get up and say that Trump was the worst president in history that lost over 200 and something million jobs. Well, wasn't there a little thing called COVID?
Yeah.
Did people, people forget about that already?
Well, that's what makes me insane every time they talk about how they're restoring the economy. And I'm like, no, you're not.
No, you're not. You're just the job. We created this many jobs. No, you're not. Those are jobs that people are just filling back up again.
And which, by the way, they're not doing because you're still paying them to sit on their butts.
Oh, I don't get it. I don't get it. You go to these places and businesses are closing down at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock that used to be open till 10 or even all night long. And the reason you talk to them, it's not because they want to, it's because they don't have anybody to work.
And let's not even I never thought about this till it was staring me in the face. So my 18-year-old, he just became an adult. So I'm like, okay, time to get a job. And these workplaces have become so lax in their policies. I remember when I started working, you don't call in unless you're half dead, right? Because there's always somebody to replace you. I had to sit down and have a talk with my son because they were just like, yeah, call off whenever you want. It's fine. You want to take 2 out of 3 days off it? That's fine. And I was like, that is not how we work.
Well, we were talking to a person that in our class, they worked at McDonald's, and they said that they get paid cash daily.
What?
They're getting paid daily. What? So the thing is what happens is they'll work.
Yeah.
And getting paid $15 an hour.
Yeah.
Will work and make a good check for a day or two, and then just don't come in.
Right. And it's okay. I'm like, man, I remember when I first entered the workforce, you called in the first week you were there, you were done. There was you didn't even bother calling in because you were gone. These businesses have become so lax because they have nobody that is willing to work. No one. And they're destroying, like I said, the youth of this country. They're teaching them that, mentality where I can do whatever I want. I can come in when I want because they need me. So I do,
Well, gee, not only that, where do you think the youth is getting that from?
Oh, I don't know.
TV.
Yeah.
These shows.
Yeah.
Don't get me on that soapbox.
No.
But yeah, it's crazy. And the thing is they want to say that what they want to do, like with the guns, we need to curb these mass shootings. When I grew up, we brought guns to school.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, everybody had guns. I mean, I lived in a country community. We all went hunting. We went deer hunting. We had rifles and shotguns in the back windows of our trucks. Deer season, I remember coming to school and bringing my rifle and putting it in the actual.
Oh, that's cool.
You know,
but did you have a mass shooting?
No, you never had that.
Exactly.
You never had that. You want to know why this happens?
I don't.
Well, think about it.
It's a gun-free zone.
Well, yeah. It's a gun free zone. Exactly. That's one reason. But the thing is kids, the reason these shootings or stuff are taking place with these kids, and we have a mental health crisis, is kids today, by the time they're 18 years of age, they're estimated that they see 2 million violent crimes, murders, rapes, and stuff through video games, movies, things of that nature. They're becoming so desensitized, life means nothing.
I mean, I could see that. I can totally see that.
They've asked kids, when they ask them, why did you shoot this? Or why did you commit this crime? Why did you do that? They've had people actually say, because I wanted to know what it was like.
Right. I mean, I can't. First of all, like, do you ever wonder what their mentality is? Like, some of them want to die at the end, right? Some of them know they're going to die. But, like, we talked about our last show was the night I got back, and my friend had been at the East Kentwood High School graduation, and I was so mad and so
I guess
furious.
they're still looking for, like, 4 people on that one.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, they call him, she's my best friend, but, you know, Becky. She was sitting there, and I get this frantic, like, everybody's talking about it, and I'm thinking, my God, my whole family, my best friend was there. Like, what is going on? And I'm thinking, like, who's brazen enough? I don't know where you get this idea. You can just pull up at a graduation and you guys can have a gunfight in the middle of. Well, not only that, but then I'm like, all 4 of my family members were there. They're gun owners. What if they had been able to defend themselves or defend other people around them? This might not happen, and it will happen again because they know they can get away with it.
And the schools are pistol-free zones, and the thing is each one of these mass shootings that took place, I told my wife, I said, Erica, I said, man, I don't know if we should send Kaylee to school for a day or two,
right? In
case there is a copycat. It's scary when you're almost afraid to send your kids to a public school.
I mean, let's talk about carnivals. Like, Becky and I were talking about that. We were like, what do we do with these kids this summer? Most stuff's too expensive to do. And the other stuff, it's like, oh, let's bring them to a carnival. Right. Because that's what they're shooting up now. Like, there's not a place that we can take our children anymore and feel safe anymore. And it's not because of legal gun owners. It's because of the people that get away with what they're doing, or they're glorified for what they're doing. That's culture.
Well, there's a saying, and it's true, and I know the left keeps trying to kill it and say opposite, but the saying, there's only thing that's going to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
Yes.
And they try to bring it up because the thing in Buffalo where the security officer, who's the retired cop, who was shot and killed, it's sad that he lost his life, but the thing is I'm thankful for him.
Yes.
And the thing is because he was armed, even though that he lost his life,
he stopped many other people.
He may have slowed that person down enough,
right,
to where other people could have gotten out. So there's no telling how many lives that he did save.
Right.
But they don't take that into consideration.
No, it's never. I guess I don't understand this. I mean, I do. I understand the ultimate goal, right? The ultimate goal is for the government to disarm us.
That is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to do away with the Second Amendment.
Yes.
What they want to do is they want to follow in the footsteps of Australia, London, or England, and some of these other countries, and they want a socialistic form of government. Right. They want a one world government.
Right. And again, I think that goes back to, like I was talking about, the January 6th and why they they come after people they do, because they're scared of me saying, like, hey, what they're telling you is a lie. And that they try to, and that's just a government tactic altogether, right? But I mean, they try to make you so afraid, and I will admit, I've been there. I've been there. I'm so afraid of just saying, I don't agree with my government. And then you get to the point where you're like, wow, I'm an American citizen and I am afraid to use my freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say that you agree with people having guns because, my God, you're a racist murderer at that point. It's so extreme with them. There's no capability of them to think, like sometimes they scream that the shooter was a white male when it's not even a white male, because they want it to fit a narrative.
Mm-hmm.
They want it to fit a narrative.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just that, again, that's not uniting us.
It's dividing us. Right.
And I think they like that. I think they like that turmoil. Again, one of the things that they say, never let a tragedy go.
Yep. To waste.
To go to waste.
Yep.
This whole country is becoming a tragedy. I hate to say it.
Oh God, it's so bad.
It's sad, and I feel bad for your kids. I feel bad for my daughter.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm 53 years old. My time is. I mean, I've got more days. I got more good days behind me than I got ahead of me.
Yeah.
But I feel for my daughter.
Yeah, I'm terrified.
I mean, I'm scared for her. I don't know. The thing is you watch these movies of, the quote apocalyptic things, or after this, like Mad Max, and it's like, oh my God, if you look at it, how far away is something like that?
Yeah, we're not far. Or that movie you told me to watch. Idiocracy.
Idiocracy.
Yes, I had watched it before, and I didn't remember that I did, but I had watched it. And I rewatched it.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious.
It's
It's hilarious, but it's a funny
scary.
movie. But you're going, whoa.
Oh. And it's just, and you listen to things people say, and again, it's not just the Democrats, it's the Republicans too.
The dumbing down of America.
It's like, what's the dumbing down? And it's like, I can't imagine. I guess it's just so weird to me because I could never imagine, right? Like, I love this country because of our rights and our freedoms and the people that fought for it. And I just can't imagine even like my grandfather and my grandfather's generation. So we're not talking generations ago. We're talking.
Well, I know with things that are happening right now, I will still stand up and say, even though what we're going through, it's still the greatest country in the world.
Right.
America is still the greatest country in the world.
I believe 100%. It's just, sometimes I get asked the question, well, if our elections aren't free and transparent, does that mean we've lost our republic? And I'm like, yes, it does. If we've lost the ability to elect who is supposed to representative, then yes, we have lost our...
And then if you vote, then by having to be fearful of being persecuted for the way you voted.
Right.
That's just wrong. I mean, the last week in my class, we were talking about this, and we were on a break, and we got to talking about some things, and I broke down and cried right there in front of 40 people in my class, and it's like, there's so much division by race and things of that nation, and your belief, and if you don't believe this way, you're this and this. We need, and I tell people in my class, we need to quit trying to tear people apart.
Yeah, I agree.
Quit trying to tear each other apart, lift each other up.
I agree.
Try to help each other out.
I agree. See, I'm on the more kind of fighting side because me, I like to stir a pot. But I guess for me, it's like, we got to get along. But I will be the first to call out a Republican because I identify with the Republican Party, the Conservative Party. We have to, and I keep saying this over and over again, we have to hold our side accountable.
Well, I think you knew this. I was looking to run for commissioner.
Yeah.
County commissioner.
Yeah.
We went down there and met with Luke and Mike at the GOP.
Right.
And Mike comes in and he's talking interview and stuff. And he said, yeah, if you want to run for commissioner, we'd be happy to support you. He said, but we would like for you to consider running for House Representative.
Right.
And I told Erica, I said, well, give me a couple of weeks to think about it. And we started talking. We were, talking about it. We were going to some of the different functions and stuff like that. And, people say, well, Jeff, you kind of fell off the face of the earth on some of this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, because the reason I did is because I saw how much underhanded and how much backstabbing your own party was.
Amen.
And how people were too worried about trying to tear each other apart rather than trying to lift each other up and help each other, such as a certain person whose name I'm not going to mention, who tried to attack you for your attack your family.
I can say it, can I?
You can say it.
Norton.
And I will say it too. I supported Tom.
Yeah.
I've supported Tom financially. I supported him. I was backing him, as a candidate. That ruined it for me.
Yeah, I guess again, I went into my run thinking I know I'm going to get attacked by the liberals. I can handle this. It was when my own party, and it wasn't until I told them, pump the brakes. I don't care if you're a Republican or not. You're not going to stomp on the Constitution and people's rights. And the moment they knew they couldn't buy me, that's when it all went crazy.
And I'm going to throw this out there. If you're listening, you're probably not, but if you are, and if somebody can get this to them, Ted, Uncle Ted Nugent, reach out to Audra. Seriously, reach out and talk to her privately. Okay?
We the whole situation behind Ted Nugent. I love him and his wife, but he listens. It's like Trump. He's listening to the establishment, thinking that they're patriots, and they're not. They're not anybody that would sell the people's votes is not a patriot.
No.
It's not a patriot.
No.
I don't care if it's sold to a Republican or a Democrat or it's a Republican policy. We have to be able to maintain that neutrality as representative. It's not my vote. It's the people's vote. It's who elected me to represent their mind. their rights.
And I will tell you guys one thing: watch it. And those of you that haven't seen it, it will open your eyes and make you. It will send chills up your back. Watch the movie from Dinesh D'Souza, 2,000 Mules.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
It is. It's mind blowing. I watched about half of it. I couldn't sleep, so I started watching it last night. And I thought, man, this is going to put me to sleep. And I started watching, and I was like, oh my god.
Let me tell you something about that. So, as you know, we have a network of amazing patriots, like just most women.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
That hit the ground running. So we kept hearing out of Congress, like, hey, we've never seen 2,000 Mules. We don't know what you're talking about. So Suzanne Monk and a bunch of patriots got together, got Dinesh D'Souza to donate 200 copies of like Blu-rays of 2,000 Mules. And they went door to door to door, dropping it off in D.C. to these people's office. So call your congresswomen men and women and say, hey, I know you got a copy. I know you, not all of them, but most of them got a copy.
I'll tell you what, I want to do one better than that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not going to charge for it because that would be illegal.
Right.
But I'd like to try to set up something here in the next few weeks to where we can set up maybe where we do our classes or something
right.
where we can have 50, 75 people, whatever, come in there, and we'll just put the movie on the big screen and everybody just comes and pops popcorn and watches it.
Available. I won't say your name, but one of our friends actually approached Peter Meyer, and Peter Meyer, the millionaire. So she said, hey, Peter, did you watch this video? Did you see this video? And Peter goes, well, it's $40 to watch it. So we made sure he got a copy because he's so hard up on money he couldn't afford the $40. So we make sure Peter's got one.
Peter Meyer, the guy that gets a couple $1 million a year trust from.
Right.
Yeah.
The one that bought $1 million condo in the middle of Grand Rapids so he could still stay in district. This man has the money to watch it. He doesn't want to.
Yeah. Don't get me on my soapbox about Peter Meyer.
No.
Okay. So that, and what I'd also like to do, I don't know what your availability is like here in a couple of weeks. Like to start advertising and stuff and get out there to people that I know.
Yeah.
Have a live show where we can actually have people call in, ask questions, give their 2 cents worth. And let's see what the people think. Let's see what the people want.
The people want freedom. They got to get comfortable to understanding that this big bad boogeyman that we've been told all this time, it's not just Democrats.
So why don't we look at doing that, say, the Tuesday, when is 4th of July? That's on Monday. Okay, so why don't we look at doing that like Thursday the 6th?
We should have Jeff with us. He'll be in town because it's our wedding anniversary, July 4th. So
okay, have Jeff on. Let's get Jennifer in here.
Heck yeah.
We'll get Jeff, Jennifer. I'll have my friend Dylan.
Panel.
Get several people in here, and let people call in. Let them ask questions.
Yeah, I'm down. That's what's so funny. That's the number one thing before I start ranting. Number one thing, if you cannot ask a candidate or a representative or whoever they are in office or running for office, you can't ask them questions. They're hiding something. It's one thing for a candidate to be upset. Like, I get upset sometimes when, people ask me about the supposed, now it's up to $2 million, by the way. $2 million that I got to drop my raise. I get upset. Don't get me wrong. But I do answer the question. I do come back, say, hey, listen, do you want to see my banking account? Here it is. Or, here's my VA loan. I provide the proof because, it's irritating. It's annoying. But if you cannot ask these people questions and get answers, or in a legit answer, not the DC
Don't
shuffle.
you still need to get your car fixed?
Yes. Does anybody know how to do brakes on a Mini Cooper?
Probably wouldn't be too hard. Probably Google it and do it.
It's literally been sitting in Shelly's driveway since I moved from Battle Creek because I don't have the money to go get it done. But
that's in Battle Creek. I'm going to say, because we got a friend of ours that's a mechanic over there in Granville. And then we have another friend of ours that does mechanic work right out of his garage.
That's a decision.
And he does good work, and he's fairly
I'm like, do I pay
reasonable
to get it done or tow it here and then get it done? So, but I mean, I've got millions of dollars, so
yeah. So it shouldn't be. You and Peter should match.
Oh yeah, Peter's my best friend.
You guys should match and see who has more money.
He paid for my wedding too. Did you know that?
Peter did.
That's what they're saying.
Wow.
I know. I'm like, I've got lots of money laying around somewhere. I gotta find. Literally, I was supposed to come over last night, wasn't I? But I was like, I just checked my banking account. I'm overdrawn $5. I can't come. Yeah,
you're like, I thought I had $20 in there, but I don't.
No, I was overdrawn by 62 cents.
Oh my goodness. I'll give you $1 so you can get the.
Well, I mean, I got paid today, but
But yeah, it's It's crazy. And it's this world. I mean, the thing is I tell people in my classes, you know, you need to start putting stuff back. You need to start putting stuff back because food's going to get outrageous. Stores and the grocery stores and the shelves are actually getting less. We got a person that we know that works for a major store chain. He's a regional person for a major store chain. And they said that their shelves were stocked.
Right.
And I said, man, the shelves are stocked. What's going on? He goes, this is stuff that we had ordered over a year ago that had been sitting out on the ships that just came in. And some of it, the due by date or use by date is like literally right around the corner.
Oh, yeah. We had macaroni cheese last week that was like 2 months past due, but the kids didn't know they ate it. It was fine.
Oh, it's good for 2 or 3 years past that. But the thing is they're saying, but they don't know when their next shipment, once this is gone, they don't know when the next shipment's going to be coming in.
That's scary.
Yeah. Oh, I have to get on this. This is one thing that drives me.
Right.
One thing Biden said, he said, you know, you hear him talk about, and they brought this up this came up when the House was talking about this new gun laws, or this new gun reform, the Protect Our Children's Act. I will mention his name straight up, Jones out of New York.
Well, it's out of New
York. Representative Jones, whose own district is like a war zone, said this. He goes, if this tells you what the left is coming from, if they try to use the filibuster to keep these laws from being passed, they will do away with the filibuster. If it goes to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court shoots it down, they will pack the Supreme Court. They will get their agenda on what they want passed.
Isn't that an insurrection?
That shows you right there. They want to do with the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Then another senator said, again, Bambi doesn't wear Kevlar. You don't need an AR-15 or any of these semi-automatic rifle or handguns and other rifles for hunting.
It's not about hunting.
It's not about hunting.
It's not about hunting. Why do they always...
Well, they say because there's no such thing as a tyrannical government anymore. That's just not going to happen. That was just, I don't know where you guys are talking about. Well, wait a minute. Wasn't it just 50 years ago? There was a gentleman by the name of Hitler that disarmed the Jews, and then how many of them did he kill?
I feel like I'm living under a tyrannical government, at the very least, government overreach.
What about Venezuela? Hello. You know, all that tyrannical government. What about Cuba?
Yeah.
What about just recently? How about this? China was welding people into their apartments, welding the doors closed where they couldn't get out.
Or the mass execution over a religion they didn't like
in Turkey.
Yep.
Isn't that called tyranny?
Yeah, it's called tyranny.
So don't say it doesn't still happen.
It does happen, and it's getting scary in our country that it is happening. Again, I have to be very, very clear. I am not asking for war. I am not supporting war.
I'm not either. I'm not supporting it. I'm not asking for it. I will do everything I can to keep it from happening.
Yes.
We have to have a peaceful solution. We have to come together. Again, will it happen? Probably not. I mean, will we come together? Probably not.
Probably not. No,
the thing is, they're going to, on the religious side of it, you get into it as a Christian, you should be excited because this stuff is biblical. I mean, we are literally in the end of days. There's not a prophecy that needs to be fulfilled. The Bible talks about this stuff. This is all in Daniel. It's all in Revelation. It's all right there in black and white. Read it. Read for yourself. But it's all right there. As a Christian, we should be excited because this stuff is all coming to fulfillment for the return of Christ. But as a human being, it's scary.
It's scary. It's scary. It makes you angry, too. I'm very angry about what's going on in my country. And I'm angry about what my kids are. And my daughter wants to be a writer. And I'm like, oh, good luck with that if we don't get our rights back, because you won't be able to write about anything they disagree with.
You can't even talk Dr. Seuss.
I hate that they attack Dr. Seuss. I love Dr. Seuss. But, my daughter, okay, like, think of that. Living in my household, we were talking about Dr. Seuss, and my youngest daughter, Scarlett, she goes, he's such a terrible person. And I'm like, where did you get that
Indoctrination from the schools.
Yes, exactly. So...
this is one thing. I'm getting on my soapbox. The inner rush is about to come out. Here's the thing that drove me nuts. Is you hear him talk about this. Hardening schools. Biden said, I will not harden the schools. Mm-hmm. Well, all these Congress people, all these senators, all these people that are in Congress and in the government, where do their kids go? to schools that have armed guards and things like that.
Yes.
They have bodyguards.
Yep.
If I hear one more actor or actress talk about this, okay, well, you can shoot your mouth, Matthew McConaughey. Okay, I got something for you, Matthew McConaughey. You can kiss my rosy red butt.
Why is it
not on the left and not on the right, because neither one of them have a political agenda, but right square in the middle. Okay, now when you start talking about gun control and this, and you're walking around with armed bodyguards, you can kiss my rosy white butt.
Or their walls around their big mansions.
Oh, I'm so sick of this crap.
Yep.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yep. I have the right, but you don't have the right.
Here's the thing. We don't have the money to harden these schools. Well, I'm sorry, but every school I've been into, all the walls were concrete and brick. Mm-hmm. Most of them have lockers on the outside. Yep. The doors are solid oak with doors. How much would it be to lock those?
Right.
How much would it be to put locks on the doors to where you only have one entrance in and out?
Yep.
Even if you don't have a resource officer, one way in and out.
Resource officer, you could arm every single school in America with a retired veteran or a volunteer,
law enforcement.
Or law enforcement.
And one of the guys said something that was absolutely true. He goes, "Well, we're going to have to pay him." No, you don't. They will volunteer. How about this? You want to get into volunteer? Make it that the people who volunteer 10 hours a week.
Yep.
10 hours a week don't have to pay taxes anymore.
Yep.
Okay, they've made their money right there.
I don't even think they need to do that.
Well, I'm giving incentive. I'm going to make it worth their time.
I know.
But the thing is what gets me is then again, we don't have the money to do this. We don't have the money to do that.
$40 billion.
We don't have the money to give to retired people, to give them to where they're living, but instead of living below poverty lines.
Right.
But we can send $54 billion to the Ukraine.
Oh, it went up. Last time I thought it was 40.
There was 14 and then 40.
Good Lord.
Two different things, 14 and then 40. And they're talking about more and to other countries.
Right.
Where does this money come from?
Well, Americans are suffering and can't pay their mortgages and can't go to work and can't feed their children.
You want another way how they could fund it? The COVID relief money that was, they said there's still 90% of it is still sitting there. We'll use it for something.
That's it.
Instead, you have Michigan and 13 other or 14 other states that want to use it for the critical race theory to push that agenda.
I just don't understand how you're gonna. We're divisive. We're divisive. We're so horrible. But like, you're teaching children to hate each other and themselves. Like, that's all it is. That's all it is.
I'm on my soapbox now. I need to calm down. My wife's I know my wife's sitting over there going, "Oh my God, I'm gonna have to listen to it for the rest of the night."
That's okay. My husband does the same thing. It's so funny. He got the Putting Up with Audra award because he can't shut me off. Everybody else can I don't want to listen to Audra rant today.
Well, listen, we've been here an hour and 10 minutes, or having 7 minutes.
That's better than last time when we ranted. I think we almost for 2 hours, didn't we?
No, we were on just right at about an hour.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. But the thing is guys out there, people, don't just take the media's word for it. Don't just think that what you're being told is in your best interest. Research it for yourself. Get on there, research it. I mean, you can look up these gun statistics. You can look at all this stuff. Yeah. Get on YouTube. Listen to some of the other side. You have actually people like myself, like Audra, Colion Noir, other Second Amendment advocates that are actually telling what the facts are and what these things are. Get on there and research it for yourself. Get on the USCCA website. I mean, I love the USCCA. I'm a USCCA instructor. Check some of their information out. There's a lot of training stuff and things that they talk about there. Attorneys and things like that they're having to research this stuff for yourself. Just don't take it from one side or the other. And like I said, I'm not saying that everything I'm saying is probably totally accurate and the truth. I'm telling you what I've been told, what I've researched, and what I've found out. You find out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody else's word for it. Research it for yourself. Lift each other up. Help each other. I want to again thank Audra for being here tonight.
Absolutely.
Absolutely a pleasure.
I am a treasure.
And if you guys want to keep hearing this content, keep supporting us, reach down there and hit that subscribe button, and then over there and tap on that bell and hit all so you get notifications of anything that's coming on out. Any donations, things like that, donate for the Wounded Warriors thing of these places. Also, see what you can do to help out with some of these families that have lost their children in some of these shootings and stuff. And the families, like even in Buffalo, where it wasn't children, it was adults. these people are hurting. If you can't help them in either way, keep them in your prayers. Keep them in your thoughts. They need it. They're going through a lot. Our country's going through a lot. Keep our country in your prayers. Keep our leaders in your prayers. Those of them that are off in the one way out in left field, per se, keep them in your prayers that maybe they, quote, see the light. Right. Our representatives, our senators, even our president, pray for Biden. I mean, am I a fan of Biden? No. Do I wish him ill will? No. But pray for him. Maybe he can open his eyes. Maybe not. That's here to be said.
Hey, God can do everything.
God's not limited.
God can work miracles.
So, but keep these people in your prayers. Again, hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell and connect all. Respond back to us. Give us your input. Email me. You can email me at jscrosby@defensiveshoot.com. You can get on our YouTube channel, DSS Firearms Academy. Send us things you want to hear about, we want us to talk about. Again, the Thursday, the 6th, we want to have a live show. So come up with your questions, things of that nature. You want to call in. We're going to have try to get several people here to come in and talk about things, to answer your questions and give your 2 cents worth. We want to hear what you think. Your thoughts, your voice matters. So let us know. You guys stay safe. God bless. Have a good week. Have a happy 4th of July. And remember the true meaning. It's not fireworks. The true meaning of the 4th of July. Come drive by my house. You'll see 4th of July.
That's right.
Okay. So with that being said, you guys have a good night. God bless.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye. Hey guys, Jeff from Defensive Shooting Skills here. We had a typo. It's actually not Thursday, July 6th. It's Thursday, July 7th. Join us for the live show. We're going to have a panel. Audra should have 2 or 3 other people. Audra's going to be here. Should have 2 or 3 other people. We will be posting the phone number for that. So we'll post it at the bottom of this video. It's going to be a few days before we post it. The video will come out before the phone number. So we're just trying to get all that in order. So stay tuned, stay touch. Again, hit that subscribe button and the bell. Click on that bell and all notifications so you can be notified of any new content that we have coming out. Again, you guys stay safe. God bless and good night.